I have a question that you can ask a family member or friend or partner that is almost guaranteed to start a fight. And here's the question. Who do you think is the alpha in this relationship from a power perspective? Ballsy question to ask. When you really start to think about it, every single relationship in your life, there is a power dynamic at play. And if you were to go to 10 of your closest friends, say you're doing this with your spouse, and you ask all your friends, who do you think is the alpha in this relationship? I almost guarantee you will get a consensus answer of who has the most power in that relationship from their perspective. Now, this doesn't mean anything completely objective, but it is really interesting to note that one person almost always will have the upper hand of power in the relationship. Now, I think there's a little bit of clarifying that we need to do here because power is a touchy subject, and I would argue that there are two kinds of power. The first kind of power is power over someone. It means you can influence them and they can't influence you, like a football team that is running the ball despite the other team's best efforts. They are getting through to the end zone. Then there's the other kind of power, which we think of much less often, but this is empower. This is power that gives, power that supports. So think like a power plant that gives power to an entire city that allows the city to operate and be alive. Think the sun that allows the earth to stay alive and have an entire ecosystem of life on it. This is empower. Now, most people, when they think about power, they think of power as the first kind of power, which is the power over someone, the power to influence someone without them being able to influence you. And I would argue that that is actually a false power. So if you find that conversation around who is the alpha in our relationship to start going downhill, that is the card you need to pull. There are two kinds of power. One of them is true, one of them is false. And true power is empowering, creative, supporting, nurturing, and brings life to everything around it. Now, this conversation gets a lot more interesting to me personally when you bring God into it and bring Christianity into it. And so I plan on bring Christianity into it. I plan on making a video about that later this week, so make sure you're following along to see that. By the way, my name's John. I live in Hawaii with my lovely wife, Gabrielle. We are surfers, explorers, adventurers. I'm a photographer, videographer. I own a social media marketing agency. I'm a Jesus follower. There's a lot going on in our lives, and I talk about all of it on this channel, so if any of that feels relevant to you, please make sure you're following along, and I'll see you tomorrow.